Within the next decade or so, we are going to pass a number of tipping points, beyond which it's going to be very difficult to recover.
Reckless burning of fossil fuels, the destruction of the forests, pollution of the ocean. How is it possible that the most intellectual being that ever walked the planet is destroying its own ego?
All of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
How dare you! You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
As if pretending that climate change wasn't real would somehow make it go away. But I think we all know better than that now. Every week we're seeing new and undeniable climate events, evidence that accelerated climate change is here right now.
Because I want to save the polar bears.
I'm here because I'm very concerned about the climate change. The government's declared a climate emergency, but it's business as usual. And I'm concerned, as you can see, because of my grandson.
I feel like it's ruining our future, because in 50 odd years, when we're having our children, starting our families, half of England is going to be underwater. We're not going to have any land to live on. Like, Britain's small enough as it is, and it's just ruining it for us.
I feel like we've kind of got ourselves into this, and it is too late for us to really do much about it. I feel like the government and everyone else that knows about this stuff hasn't really made anyone else aware. Like, I think we should be told this in schools and colleges. Like, there should be more things on social media on how we could help and just what's going on around us. So obviously we're having the storms and everything like that, which is an indication of climate change, but no one really seems to be doing much except from like protesting, and like not much is really being done.
Well, it's quite a big issue, and we need to do something about it. And I think that not enough is being done.
My name is Marika de Jonge, and I am local coordinator for a Friends of the Earth group here in Tunbridge Wells.
What drove you to take a part in helping the fight with climate change?
It's been a while actually. I was doing some research for our company, really about going green, for the company to go green, and then I realised I don't really know much about it, and it piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a member of a volunteer for organisations like Greenpeace, and when I was back in the Netherlands, Milieu Defence. Anyway, so it's been an interest, but then I thought, no, I wanted to study and know more about it, so I then picked up studying environmental studies at the Open University.
What does Friends of the Earth do?
Friends of the Earth, like all environmental groups now, are really concerned about climate change and how rapidly it's evolving. I mean, scientists have been saying it for a long time, but the general public hasn't really caught on that much. But it's getting there, and also not just Friends of the Earth, but obviously Extinction Rebellion is a big group and has got lots of publicity. Friends of the Earth work a bit differently. They work with councillors, so they lobby councillors to try and get laws changed. So at the moment they're busy getting a plastics bill approved in Parliament, so that it becomes illegal to produce too much plastic or to use plastic too much. So it's all about reducing plastic. But that's more to do with pollution rather than climate change.
But pollution's part of...
It's part of the whole big thing.
Yeah.
And in the end, actually, you could link it to climate change because plastic is made out of oil, which is, part of the fossil fuel industry. So in that way, it's linked. But they've also set up climate action groups. So we're just a Friends of the Earth group, but also a climate action group.
Right.
And what we've done is we've worked with the council to get them to declare a climate emergency, for example. And tonight there will be some councillors here as well who've become part of the group. So we have direct contact with local government. So every level of government is kind of, we try and lobby for change.
Why is climate change important to you personally?
To me personally, it's important, as I think it should be for all parents. I look at what the environment was like when I was younger, and it's not even that long ago. It's like 40 years ago. I felt there was a lot more nature around us, even in the cities, like lots more birds. And, we just didn't have the same worry. And if I look at younger people now and how I see how rapidly things are changing, that really worries me. And I worry for my kids, and just generally worry about how many species go extinct, and we have to obviously do something about it. And none of us can change the world, but we all can do our bit, I think. So.
What is your view on the current protests? Because I know there's the school strike, which has become quite a big one across the country. What's your view on it?
I fully support it, and I think it's disingenuous of people to say that children don't have a right to speak out or don't have a right to protest, and they should be in school and learning things. And I'm thinking, well, by the time they finish school and have their diploma, it'll be too late to start doing things. So I think it's good because it sends a clear sign to government and to local government and national government that young people are not going to put up with it. At the same time, I think it should be more than just protesting, because it'd be good if young people could get together in groups and actually do stuff.
Because I saw a lot of things in it. It was saying like, why should kids go to school if they're not going to have a future? Like, what is the point of having an education if there's nothing you can use it on? Because obviously, like, of what's happening, which I actually agree with a lot. And then I just hope that a lot more people and the government decide to take action on these things.
I think it's also a positive thing for people to do, because it shows that they're not alone in their worry and they're not alone in wanting to protest, because it brings that sense of solidarity. And I know that a lot of young people are very anxious. I'm not too worried, because I just think, you just got to do what you got to do. But there are people who get really seriously worried, so much so. I know someone who says, I just want to give up my studies because there's no point. And I think that's just too much. So being able to find other people and maybe get together and take action together, that will give people something to do, that will help with their anxieties, I think.
It would probably help as well if schools maybe educated students on climate change and stuff, like at the moment, because I think that would be a good time for like students to listen, so it can like take away some of their worries. But I don't know if that would fit in with this.
It should. Have you heard of this initiative called Teach the Future?
No.
It's an organisation called Teach the Future, and it's set up by young people, teenagers, and actually I think it's this week or next week, Thursday maybe. They are in Westminster lobbying MPs to say this Teach the Future, it should be part of a school programme.
Do you feel that the government are doing enough?
I think difficult to say. I mean, Britain is not bad in what they declare, what they commit themselves to. I think, were the first country to have an environmental bill, like a law that put it like a law that you have to reduce emissions by. Initially, they were saying by 2020, and then it's
2035. I did read about that.
And then now they've committed to 2050 as being net zero emissions. But at the same time, when you talk to MPs like our MP here, Greg Clark, a couple of years ago we were talking about fracking. I don't know if you know, have you heard of fracking?
I have heard of fracking.
It's drilling for shale gas, and it puts a lot of pollutants into the ground, but to break up the ground with a lot of water as well, and methane can escape, and it's still a fossil fuel because it's still gas. So we talked to him about it because he was then the business secretary and he was going to approve it, and he was all in favour of it. And I go like, well, that doesn't make any sense. On the one hand, you say you want to achieve, zero emissions. Well, that came a bit later, but still, that's what they're working towards. On the other hand, you want to do fracking, so that's now stopped. So that's good. But then the main thing would be, I suppose, to have onshore wind, which is like a cheap, clean, renewable energy source. And it's not allowed, so it's all offshore, but they won't allow onshore wind farms, for example. So there's lots more they can do. I think it's a lot of talk, but when it comes to actually doing stuff, it's too limited.
Exactly, I agree with that.
If I'm honest, I really don't. If they were that serious about it, they would completely ban like plastic in shopping centres and like the bags and everything. Primark have paper bags, so why can't everyone else? And some like grocery stores, they do have their veg in paper bags and everything, so like if they put a ban on it, then that would be helping part of the problem. And I feel like more people should be helping with cleanups and finding ways of sorting out all the mess that we've made.
I think it's not necessarily the government doing stuff. I feel like it's more like third-party stuff and people who actually are really passionate about climate change. I feel like it's not really in the government's eye. I don't feel like it's portrayed to be as serious as it is and should be. But I think if more people got together and actually promoted the problem about climate change, then the government probably would get an idea about it and then maybe do something about it from there.
Do you feel there is enough awareness on climate change?
No, definitely not. I think children in schools need to be like taught, and it needs to be more of a not worldwide, but people need to be seeing it all the time.
I really don't. I feel like everyone should be told on a daily basis on what they can do, and the researchers should present their research to the world, and then maybe everyone can help.
Definitely not where it should be. I feel like it should be put into education a lot more for kids, especially of our generation, because it's getting worse and worse each year, and I don't think it's going to stop until people actually come together and do something about it and raise more awareness through. There's so many different communities in this whole world that would probably help and come together and find a way to spread awareness about it a lot more than there already is.
In the next few decades, we need to do something unprecedented, achieve a sustainable existence on Earth.
Bye.